Welcome to another CPG webcast, a service of CPG Matters and the Shopper Technology Institute. I'm your host, John Karolefski. Thank you for joining us. Today we're talking about assessing brand equity. In today's cluttered marketplace, brands are competing for the attention of consumers. Looking backwards and evaluating the present is no longer a winning formula. Looking forward is needed to evaluate the economic worth of brands. So says today's guest. He is Ryan Barker, Executive Vice President at Vision Critical. So Ryan, how can marketers manage a brand's relationship with consumers for maximum results?
First of all, John, one reality in the marketing world is that affinity, attachment, and loyalty to brands follows the same twists and turns as other human relationships, specifically flirting and dating, love, and even divorce. In fact, consumers are falling in and out of love with their chosen brands every day.
So if love is the ideal that creates assets, how can you determine where your brand sits on that scale?
The answer comes from a legion of panelists, both global, national, and local, who will tell you that brand love must exist over time, meaning that it must be relevant both for today and tomorrow, and that the best loved brands are well invested in both. So imagine being able to converse with 1 million panelists weekly, and then using the feedback to develop marketing and investment strategies to grow your brand's value. And imagine having the ability to zero in on a global locality to understand how that specific area responds to changes in pricing and packaging or even messaging. And also imagine, especially since you're rarely at your desk these days, having an app to access these insights in real time, anytime through your smartphone, tablet, or laptop.
Well, that sounds interesting, but is that just theory, Ryan, or is that reality today?
Sure. The return on a love that creates valuable and sustainable competitive advantage is very real today, John. For example, 96% of the brands one group of panelists has defined as most loved outperformed the S&P 500 in this record-setting year. That's the kind of productive results when chief marketing officers and chief financial officers start to speak the same language. In other words, it's not enough to be a category leader. In fact, those metrics can mislead marketers, giving them a false sense of security and misguided optimism. Think of it like this. What good is it really to be a category leader in decline? And what best practices can be learned if a marketer isn't looking at the brand agnostically?
Well, love can be fleeting, as we all know. So tell us about short-term versus long-term love or loyalty to brands.
Achieving short-term love that sticks is every marketer's objective. And the short-term components for such stickiness, such as building salience and intimacy, must be measured along with the long-term components of engagement and competitive uniqueness. All of this before they can be managed for optimal brand vitality. Sherry Turkle, who's a regular TED speaker and an MIT professor, she once said that human relationships are rich and they're messy and they're demanding. We clean them up with technology, and when we do, one of the things that happens is that we sacrifice conversation for mere connection, and we end up shortchanging ourselves.
I understand that's the reasoning behind a new platform called the Brand Equity Relationship Assessment, BERA for short, which combines technology and human contact. Please tell us about it.
BERA's point of departure from any other brand equity platform is its marriage of a real-time, cloud-based consumer feedback loop linked to financials so that marketers can course correct for today and tomorrow. And because BERA is both highly granular and widely comprehensive, it gives marketers the best chance of short-term and long-term growth. And there's a 5-step process to assessing, building, and sustaining brand equity. First, number 1, linking consumer insights with key performance indicators. By providing both the current and future assessment of your brand on a weekly basis, globally, nationally, and locally, the gap is finally bridged between marketing and finance. 2, listening to the global, national, and local feedback loop. There was a Scottish poet, John, named Robert Burns, and he said it best in his classic of To a Louse. Oh, would some power the giftee gie us to see ourselves as others see us. And when those others number in the millions, theirs is a voice to be heard. Which leads to 3, which is establishing the right brand dialogue for ongoing engagement. This is the conversation that's being held at each of the 5 points of engagement.
And those 5 points are?
Product, pricing, promotion, place, and people.
Thank you. And sorry for the interruption. You are up to the 4th step in the process.
No problem, John. That's right. 4 is determining the impact of your strategy on brand value, which is where should you invest, at what levels, how do you allocate against channels, do you go after margin or volume? And 5 is assessing brand strategies before, during, and after you go to market. And this yields accurate, invaluable learning for scaling and implementing brand strategies and dialogue.
Well, that's certainly unique. Any closing thoughts?
Well, by combining all of these elements with the latest technology and human experience, the way is now clear for a true brand equity relationship assessment, whose bottom line is quite simple. Once brand marketers really figure out how to measure the economics of brand love, they can readily manage it for growth and profitability.
Thanks, Ryan. For more information about Vision Critical, visit them on the web at www.visioncritical.com. To contact Ryan Barker directly, email him at ryan.barker@visioncritical.com or call him at 212-402-8203. Until the next time, this is John Karolefski for CPG Matters and the Shopper Technology Institute.